Quick shout out to my Patreons who keep this channel going. You can join my Patreon down in the description below. What's guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're interacting to the finale of Season 1 of Duke of Death and His Maid. This one's titled Together with the Duke, ellipsis, ... I say the fact that it's the end of Season 1 because I already know ahead of time that this is getting a sequel. I believe it's at the end of this episode that the sequel announcement was made. It's something that often happens with shows. They like to have their sequel announcements right at the end of the show. I think more often than not now, that is the preferred way of doing it if they already know they've got their sequel greenlit. It also means that it's more likely that the sequel is already underway and might be coming a lot earlier. I don't think we got anything more specific than that, other than, hey, Season 2's coming. I don't know if this season is necessarily going to end on a bit of a cliffhanger, but we've already got a good amount of plot established, and this is something I've been thinking about as well since, Villainess got announced as having a movie. My Next Life as a Villainess, All Routes Lead to Doom. That got announced to have a movie recently, and I'm behind on that show massively as well. But I was just thinking, with a show like this, we're not going to answer the premise of the show this episode. It's not going to happen. I have a good idea on what we're going to do this episode, since we're going to visit Mother, and I think we might finally get a bit of an idea on what Mother's character is like, because it's very easy to assume that she's the bitchy mother that doesn't want anything to do with him, but why would she summon him now? Why hasn't she already tried to, move the heir over to Walter? Because that seemed like the logical thing to do as soon as he got cursed. The only reason I can think of is that she does want Duke back, and she does maybe miss her son, and she has a heart, which, for anime mothers of recent, is not necessarily a common thing. As soon as, parental issues start to be discussed in anime, it seems to be the mothers always end up being kind of bitchy. Maybe I'm just been played a little bit by recent shows, but it seems to be a common thing. So maybe we'll actually get a point where it's like, oh no, she's not being bitchy, she's just being, tough love, or, wants to keep her social status as it is, but is trying to support where possible. If that makes sense. I don't know. It's going to be interesting this episode to see. But what I'm saying is, with this getting a sequel, unlike Villainess's sequel, which they burnt through the basic premise of that show in the first season, and quite early on, because it just became generic slice of life at that point. I still want to finish it because I still enjoy the characters, don't get me wrong. But it lost a lot of the charm of what it had because the basic premise that it was built on is already finished and no longer applies. She's not trying to avoid her doom anymore in a scripted game environment that she has information about. It's now just a completely open fantasy story. And that's entertaining in itself, don't get me wrong. I've watched plenty of those types of stories as well. But it just kind of lost the base premise. This one still has it, though, because the curse is still very much in effect. We've only just recently learnt that Sharon is potentially alive. I don't know if she's meant to be dead in Daleth's coffin thing. It's possible that she isn't, considering how good she looked. She might be suspended animation. I don't know what type of deal they're going to do with that. But we know that Daleth is more involved than we originally could have thought. We know that there were two witches in robes that came to the mansion that day, Daleth and one other. I'm expecting that one other is going to be very important as to what happens. Daleth said they knew who did it, but that witch is already dead, so there's more links there. And yeah, getting the curse cured is very much a long-term goal that can't wrap up this episode. At least I hope they don't, because if they did, that would be really weird. And completely ruin all the pacing they've done for the show up until this point. But yeah, that's just what makes me more excited about this getting a sequel than something that, say, Villainess did, just because they still have their core idea behind the show there. The Duke, he can't touch anything because he'll kill them. If they solve that problem and then said, okay, no, it's just a slice of life romance between Duke and Alice, it's like, great, I'd enjoy that, but is it going to be the same as having, the what's the word? It's not tension. The anticipation and the desire, obviously, of them wanting to touch each other but knowing they can't. wanting to do something but knowing you physically cannot do that, and yet being in close proximity to always be there, like that's quite powerful, and is in essence kind of like kind of like what happens in long distance relationships, right? But now on a much closer scale. Like, imagine you're in a long distance relationship, but you can see each other every single day and just can't touch each other. That's what modern technology has done, right? Because you've got phone and video and everything. So, in essence, this is a long distance relationship they're in, but painfully close, which is just an interesting premise that I very much enjoyed. Anyway, we're going to see what happens this time. Zine almost betrayed us, although I don't think he ever really wanted to. And so we have got Daleth off our back for now, and we can get that logbook back if we need to. I don't know if we're going to get that back today, or if we're going to get it back later on in the show, like in Season 2. I feel like this episode is primarily going to be focused around Duke, Mother, and that side of the house, and then setting up our journey back and eventual Season 2. I feel like that's what we're going to do, so we'll see. Anyway, loading up the episode up here. As per usual, these are time-based format reactions here on YouTube. If you want to see the full picture-in-picture, go to our Patreon down description below. £4 a month gets you access to all picture-in-picture reactions I do on the channel, which is everything from my seasonal lineup, as well as Patreon request shows such as World Trigger, Sympho Gear, and Log Horizon. Log Horizon following shortly after this. And World Trigger has its... I have my plans to finish that up and get ready for Season 3 in about 2 weeks' time. No, 3 weeks' time. How long is it? I don't know. 3 weeks? 3 weeks' time. Okay. I thought the end of the season was much closer just because shows are already ending here with Duke of Death like this. But yeah, I've got my plans on that. I've got my plans on Sympho Gear for tomorrow and later this week. So hopefully they all go to plan. This weekend's going to be very interesting, but I'll discuss that in another video. Or on my Discord, or both. I'll let you know close to this time. But here on YouTube, we do time-based. So bottom left of the screen, you'll see a time for the episode. I count down 3, 2, 1, play. Don't play your side episode, I side episode, and we should be in sync. We'll watch this one on Funimation, since they're the ones who licensed this series. Just the Funimation logo to start, so it's about 7 seconds of logos, give or take. I'll call them out as they go past, but you also use screen flash on my face, the mic, or this part of my headset to tell when these are transitioning. That shall be synced up as well. So, with all that said, let's get into the final episode of Duke of Death, shall we? In 3, 2, 1, play. Funimation, cheers. Here we go. Traditional opening. Wait. This is the first one, not the second one, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that was the original first one, not the new second one, which never mentioned that. Interesting. They bring that back up just because of the mother's line, I'm assuming. Yep. Terrified? Yeah. Yes. Happy time. I will miss this OP. It's a good OP for this show. Especially still, like, it's a simple thing, but, like, I like how they use the shadows in this to imply where they want to be, whereas the actuality is where they actually are. It's just such a simple thing, but I think it, like, really conveys it well. Alright, together with the Duke. Well, yeah. Mm-hmm. Wow, okay, it's been a long time. It's a long time. Mm-hmm. Mm. The idea of who your mother is. Mm. 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 Oh shit, really? Okay. First time seeing her, you're gonna tell her. Okay. Mm-hmm. Cut from the background. Uh, okay. Of course. We here? Mm-hmm. Hey, hello. Okay. Yeah. Oh boy. Hello, Walter. How are they gonna react to the Duke? Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. Ah, okay. Hmm. Oh boy. Oh boy, here we go. Okay. Talk tomorrow. Hmm. Well then. Really? Yeah. Hmm. She also didn't want to talk right now. Yeah, she'll get along well with everyone. Hmm. Oh. Hmm. Hmm. Interesting. Okay. Hmm. Interesting. Is it Duke? Yeah, it's Duke. Mm-hmm. Hmm. Normal. It's relative, right? Hmm. uh, uh. Okay, we're going back there. Okay. Where were we cursed, actually? Did they tell us that yet? I don't think they did. Hmm. The next day. Hmm. Hmm. Whoa. Okay. Whose grave is it? Doesn't care. Yeah, embarrassing his hands, yeah. Interesting. Right. Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Mm-hmm. Oh, hello, mother. Oh boy. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Oh boy. And all the way on the other end, yep. Yep. But they are sitting at the same table, even if it is ridiculously far apart. The little shaking as it was put down. Nice touch. Okay. Okay, so father's hospitalized. Okay. We're having this conversation now then, huh? Setting a deadline, okay. Hmm. Hmm. Yep. Damn straight. Yes. Mm-hmm. Fun memories. Hmm. Hmm. Wow. Going overboard here. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's no way she's gonna approve. Yeah. Yeah. Ugh. Oh shit. That's revolution talk right there. Mm-hmm. Oh, shit. Holy shit. Just like some other like, oh shit. Yeah, they're all running away from mother. Wow. Okay. Oh. Okay. I think she's I think she's happy about that fact then. So she's not like completely heartless. Kind of hard to get a read on a character purely. I think she does care. Hence why she's giving him so much time and wants him to break it. Hmm. Hmm. Nas doesn't even know what was said. Funny she knew, huh? Wonder if he'll tell her. Very nicely done. Still got a lot of time left in the episode, though. Still got a lot of time left. So it'll definitely be after credits here. Really like the CD as well. I feel like I haven't given this OPND enough real praise over the course of the show is running, but it is genuinely really good. It's just not the type of thing that ends up on my playlist or anything like that. So maybe that's why I don't speak as fondly. Alright, back home. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We have a time limit now. uh, okay. Can't tell her. Well, that's not true. Hmm. 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 Very nice. Mm-hmm. Romance and Destiny. It's only beginning. Indeed. There it is. Season 2. Right at the end, you get a little Season 2 announcement. Actually, rather nicely done as well. Because normally when you have a Season 2 announcement at the end of a show, it's just a promo image that's specially drawn for it, and then yeah, it's just like Season 2 coming soon, or something like that. So that's usually what ends up happening. That one, they made like a little, like, they made a short little piece out of it, which I kind of enjoyed. Yeah, that is Duke of Death complete. Well then. I mean, round of applause. Round of applause. Very enjoyable show. Very, very enjoyable show. The characters were really well done. It's a relatively small cast as well, which is interesting. Like, we have our two mains, obviously, and then we have our supports in the form of the family, Rob, Zine, and Cuff, for the most part, and then a few characters sprinkled here and there. But as shows go, really a kind of, like, tight-knit cast, for the most part. And that's good because it means you give all the characters that you do introduce time to actually, like, build upon them. Obviously, Walter didn't really get that much, but I don't think anyone particularly cared too much about Walter up until that point. But yeah, Bocchan and Alice really, really got a lot of time together. And a lot of time to build out their relationship, and it just works really well. It just became very connectable, I guess is the best way to put it. Like, I was rooting for them the entire time, and I'm glad we get more time with them to see where it ends up going, because I want to see the payoff and that first... I'm curious to see how long it will take, because I'm going to assume that at this current stage in the manga, which is about 4 years in at this point, I'm going to assume the curse has yet to be fully broken. I'm going to guess. I mean, I feel like this is a type of show that ends with the curse being broken, and they get that first kiss moment to finally be together, and then you fade to black, and it's like they can finally live their happy life together. I feel like that's how this series technically ends. But I don't know if we're going to get that payoff in anime form next season. Like I said, I feel like season 2 of the anime probably will catch up fairly far into where the manga is right now. I don't know if they're going to go with an anime original ending to have the curse be broken, but I expect next season to have a lot more of the curse being factored in, especially now that we have a set time of, we've got until the end of spring. And considering we're still in winter, that's not long. It's going to be like, what, 3 months-ish, maybe, if that, to break this curse. So we're going to have to start accelerating plot points on that. We're going to have to start exploring more of Daleth and what the hell has happened to Sharon, whether she is alive or dead in that form. Yeah. I'm super excited for season 2. I really am. Best guess, I would expect this to maybe come out next year. If it does, it'll probably be either summer next year or maybe fall next year, if I had to guess. I think that gives the most likely chance of it to come out. It depends how far along they are and how early into the show they knew a second season was coming. One of the benefits of CG work is that they already have all the models they need. They'll obviously commission new models for any future side characters that get introduced and such, but they can reuse a lot of the environments, they can reuse their main characters, and with CG rigging, it's a case of, like, you've already got the model, you just make the model do what you want it to do. And a lot of that can be repeatable, you can use a lot of the same walk cycles, you can use a lot of the same stuff, and it becomes, I think, easier to create more content from it than a traditional series, where traditionally you're going to have to draw, again, another 12 episodes worth. Whereas in this, it's like you can take so much of that effort initially put into making it and then just do it again, basically. At least that's what it looks like from an outsider's perspective. I have no experience working in a CG animation studio or a traditional animation studio, so my opinion means absolutely nothing because I've not worked in such an environment. But I'm assuming there are benefits, and those seem to be where I imagine they would start to come in. There's probably more as well, and probably a lot of hindrances in doing this, but I guess we'll see. All in all, though, very enjoyable show. I will still say I don't agree with CG being the choice of this show. I don't think it didn't detract from it. Don't get me wrong, I'm not hating on it. But I don't think it helped it in any way either. And I'm just wondering if that maybe put people off initially and maybe curbed its initial appeal. Because at its core, this is a really interesting idea. A rom-com with no physical contact, but the desire for it. Because a lot of romance stories, especially rom-coms and like ecchi harem stuff as well, it very much becomes a case of the main character never really decides who he's in love with, and it never really progresses further than that, even though there's all the possibilities in the world for it to progress. This one, they're going as far emotionally as they can together, wanting to be married, wanting to be together forever, but knowing there is that physical limitation that's holding them back. There is an actual limitation, rather than just sheer incompetence from the MC's point of view. And I think that is a breath of fresh air in romance shows, quite honestly. I would much rather, if you're going to do a rom-com show, if you don't want to go like the fantasy route here and have witches and curses and stuff, create an actual barrier that is preventing further progress, rather than just MC be dumb, if that makes sense. Like, make a barrier that would prevent it. So family is a big one, obviously, because families can be very disapproving of certain relationship partners. We know that. We've seen that here as well. This is based on a class division, but there are certainly other things that can incorporate into that. So use that as a barrier to why a relationship can't work. Use a long distance thing. Like, have we ever seen a long distance relationship in anime? Like, as a main plot point? Have we ever seen long distance be factored in? Or even as a subplot for, like, side characters, have we ever seen, like, a long distance relationship, like, shown? I don't know if this is necessarily such a thing for Japan. Like, how often do you hear, this is more to my Japanese audience, how often do you hear of people in your lives, or, like, your friends, or people you know, like, of having long-distance relationships with people outside Japan? Because I feel like it's fairly common here in the UK. We have a lot of people, I know a lot of people who have long-distance relationships with people in, say, America, especially. A couple in Australia, which is super long. I cannot imagine having a long-distance relationship in Australia. That is incredibly tough because of the time difference. Like, that's close to 12 hours. So by the time you wake up, they're going to bed. That must be a really rough one to live through, but credit to people who can manage to do that and make it work for love. It's like, that's impressive. But like, Japan, I don't know if Japan is necessarily big enough. I mean, Japan has good infrastructure, unlike certain other majorly developed nations, America. Although they have flights, but even then flights are kind of expensive and still take a long time. But like in Japan, for instance, if someone was, I mean, how often do you hear of like a relationship of someone like in Tokyo and then going to, say, Hokkaido or Okinawa or something like that? Like, how often do you hear of those types of things happening? Or is it very much a case of you kind of fall in love with the people in your area for the most part? Like, surely it might be like a train trip away, like a small train trip away, but it's not like across the country. Like, just kind of curious, because again, I don't think I've seen a long distance relationship portrayed in anime like seriously. So, just an idea. But anyway, that's going to do it for today, guys. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the one as per usual. Leave a like if you did, as well as your comments for the episode. Don't forget to hit subscribe. We're doing a preview for next season coming here very, very shortly. Hopefully this week I'll be doing the preview, as well as the rest of the summer 2021 lineup that is going on currently. We're finishing off a bunch of shows. I'm going to go finish off Vanitas right now. I didn't finish it up on Saturday, so I'm going to finish it now. And then later this week, what else is finishing? I believe we've got more finishing. Slime finishes this week. Kobayashi finishes this week. So yeah, a bunch of shows are going to start wrapping up here, and Villanessa's already wrapped up as well, which I do need to catch up on. So yeah, a lot of shows wrapping up this week and next week. So yeah, stay tuned for their finales and for what the next season holds. So thank you for watching. Till next time. See you guys later.